G'day, gang. Right. So I talk a lot about different topics. Well, I have so far. I'm only just getting started. But I think one of the topics that keeps coming up, I think for me, is related to the way that we interact with each other and how we want to moderate those interactions. Social avoidance. I think you see it so often across all walks of life. Someone interacts with you in a way in which that is a stranger, you just instantly want to walk away from them. And you see that a lot in live streaming and nuisance content that people just get like expecting that someone's going to come up and bother them. And I think that you just see that when you're walking around, that people are getting more and more uncomfortable with talking to strangers, which is pretty sad, really. And I think that you see it in video games where more and more people don't even want to join voice, where more people don't even read text on their screens because they don't want to interact with other people, and games are becoming more and more focused on making it about one person able to play an entire game without ever coming in contact with another human, even if they are surrounded by other people. It's just over and over we see examples of people not wanting to interact. And we see examples of this too in our professional lives, just all across every human experience. We just don't want to interact with people more and more and more. And I think that that is becoming very problematic because we rely on each other regardless of if we want to or not. Social interaction is one of the things in which that we would go absolutely insane without, but we want to. Sorry, my cat's he's having a moment. But we want to control the way in which that we interact with other people. And online is, I think, the best space for being able to control how we can interact with other people, and yet it's still one of the places in which that we are avoidant. It's I think it's a really big issue that we need to be talking more about and be more aware about, and see if we can do something to prevent it. Because I think this is going to become a bigger and bigger issue for us as time goes on. And I don't just mean us individually, I mean us as a world. And I'm not even talking about a single culture, because it seems to be a worldwide thing currently, that there is this trend that we're growing more and more distant from each other, but we're more and more, we don't need or want each other. It's just the people in our lives that we want, and our social circles are getting very, very small and very, very intentional, which has its merit, but it also comes to the potential of being exclusive and then having issues with exclusion, which has always been an issue for people, for humans. Choosing who to shun or who to include in your group has always been something that is problematic for the person being shunned, and oftentimes for the people that do shun them. It's all of this, like the exclusion and the avoidance is definitely something that we should be very, very careful with and use carefully. I myself, someone starts to become like overly toxic in my life, bye. Easy. And I think that has its benefits and it has its merits. And the way in which that we define toxicity for ourselves will always be dynamic and changing. But I think we as people are defining that toxicity in a smaller and smaller way. And rather that the toxicity is being defined in a bigger way, so that our social circles are shrinking and we're becoming more picky and particular. Again, has its merits, benefits, and negatives, but ultimately this limitation of interaction with people has the potential to make us put us deeper into our little echo chamber and push us deeper into these little bubbles that we seem to be forming, kind of on an unprecedented scale. Human life at current is extraordinarily different from human life pre-internet. It's amazing. It is, there are so numerous benefits and just as many downsides. And I think we have to understand them and talk about them and work out how they interact with us, and what our options are, and what options we're intentionally and unintentionally taking. I think most of the options that we are taking are not intentional. I don't know if everybody is aware of how small our bubbles are becoming, and how fussy we're becoming about social interactions, and about how controlling we're becoming about the interactions that we do have, even the interactions that happen organically. Those chance meetings and interactions that just happen in the wild, we are becoming more fussy about how we want them to happen. Yeah, it's a pretty complicated situation currently, and I think that it is down to numerous factors, but one of the biggest factors is that we have all of these availabilities to have social interactions in very shallow and fleeting means, and they're often on social media. We see different people from different walks of life, and we think that we're interacting with them in a real sense, but it's completely false. So the interactions that a lot of us are getting in huge quantities, they're not even reflective of society or those people themselves. So not only are our interactions limited, restricted, and us ourselves are shrinking our bubble of what we want, but we also aren't seeing the world as it is, which I do think happens naturally with social avoidance, because if you're withdrawing from other people, you're not going to see them in their worst moments or even their medium moments. You're really only going to see people at their best. And I think that all of this stuff has a lot of issues. And I think, yeah, over and over again, we really need to be having more discussions about how to manage our social avoidance, and how to grow our bubble without having to adjust our standards, because we still shouldn't be exposed to people that are awful to us. We should be picky, and we should have the availability to be picky. And it is awesome that we can say, yo, this person keeps showing up at my house at 2 a.m. wanting to have drinks, and I don't drink. And we should be able to say, that's not the kind of person that I want in my life. They keep flipping waking me up. So it's not, I'm not about that, or on the opposite. We keep saying these people are just going to bed early. I don't want to interact with these people that don't even want to have fun anymore. You have those sorts of attitudes, and we get to pick. We get to choose who we hang out with. And a lot of the time, people don't even know that you don't want to hang out with them as much. You can block them. You can just not answer their calls, and you can leave them out of your life a lot more than we used to be able to, because the options for interaction used to be very limited. And now we have numerous options to gaslight people into thinking that, we just don't have time for them. Because of course we do that, because there is this lack of honesty as well in a lot of cultures. Instead of just saying, look, no offense, nothing personal, just don't want to be your friend. That's really not seen in very many cultures as being culturally acceptable, which is sad. I think that we should be able to culturally acceptably break up with friends. And I think we should feel comfortable to do that, but we're going in the complete different direction of honesty in most cultures. Most cultures are saying, instead, just turn your phone off and lock your windows. Yeah. And I think that's unfortunate. I think we need to be aware of it, and I hope more people put this into their forefront and make sure that they're removing the people in their lives that they want to remove, and that they're actively pursuing the people that they want to keep in their lives. Because if you're not being screen. If you're not being clear about what you want from other people, they're not going to know, because we are past a point of being subtle. We can't really do subtle anymore. We kind of have to be more direct about stuff. But that's just my opinion on the subject. I'm very interested, genuinely, about what other people think about social avoidance and what people think about the social fabric that we have at current, and their own social fabric. I'm really interested to hear about like what other people's social lives are like and how many friends they have that are close to them. Please comment. I'm very interested. Very, very interested to hear about like the lives of people all over the world. So it would be really cool if you would tell me like where you're from and like little bit of pieces about your own social networks and stuff. That'd be really cool. We'll see if people are interested in talking about that. But I think we should be talking about social avoidance in general. Yeah. That's it. Thanks for listening to me.